Lions and Eagles at 12-2 tied for the best record in the NFC. And it's worth noting, Detroit and Minneapolis will face each other in the season finale and perhaps for the NFC North title. Back here with Brian McFadden and Emery Hunt, as things are becoming clearer. We know who's in, we know who's out, and we know who has no room for error as we enter this crucial final stretch of the year. We know we've got 3 teams vying for that top spot in the NFC, and 2 of those battling it out for that North's crown. But after the Lions lost to the Bills and the Vikings getting their win Monday night over the Bears, both teams now tied at 12-2. The 2 have a meeting with one another in Week 18, but B-Mac, considering what we know and what we've seen, who would you give the edge to once this is all said and done to be holding that division title at the end of the year?
Well, right now, I'll give the edge to the Minnesota Vikings, and here's why. They're the healthier team. It seems like every week after a ball game, we're getting notification that the Lions just lost another player. McNeil is gone, ACL injury. David Montgomery is gone. We don't know exactly when he will come back, if possible, during the playoff stretch. And now it's about these injuries starting to mount up to be such a tall mountain, they can't get over it. And I think those critical moments in terms of these injuries will surface in playoff caliber football. Now, the luxury the Lions have is their final 3 games outside of the game against the Minnesota Vikings. They're not as tough as what Minnesota has, because in their 3-game stretch for the Vikings, they have to play Green Bay. There you have it, right on time. Thank you, Lucas. They have to play Green Bay. You look at that Packer-Minnesota game. If you're the Detroit Lions, you're rooting and cheering for the Green Bay Packers, because if they can take care of their business and something happens in the final game against the Minnesota Vikings, correct me if I'm wrong, they still own the tiebreaker over the Minnesota Vikings. But in terms of what I like and what I expect to see, I believe the more healthier team in the Minnesota Vikings have a better shot to find a way to win this division, especially if they can beat the aforementioned Green Bay Packers.
First, they have to get past Seattle. I actually like the way the Vikings schedule sets up for them, because I feel like that can prove that, hey, we are the best team. I do feel like the Vikings are the best team because they are as balanced offensively as the Detroit Lions. They are healthier than the Detroit Lions and also the Green Bay Packers. I can trust their receivers more so than I can trust the Packers receivers to catch the football consistently. They have 2 of the elite receivers in the league. They have an elite level tight end and a quarterback in Sam Darnold that has minimized the mistakes. So for me, the Vikings will get tested, but I feel like they are built for the test, especially what we saw tonight. They kind of played around with Chicago, but they ended up winning by double digits. Yeah. They took care of their business, getting ready for Seattle, who's going to be a scrappy bunch trying to fight to get back into the postseason picture.
And it depends on how scrappy will the Seahawks be, because if they don't have Geno Smith, Sam I am, he ain't the Sam Darnold. No. He Sam Howell.
He ate the green eggs and ham.
Yeah, Sam ate the green eggs and ham when he filled in for Geno Smith. So let's see exactly what happens in terms of the quarterback situation. But anytime you go out to Seattle to the 12, it's a tough task. So yeah, if you're Detroit, you're rooting for Seattle. You're rooting for every team that plays against the Minnesota Vikings, because you might need some room just in case that error surfaces.
It's like health versus strength of schedule going down the rest of this stretch. All right, from the top of the standings to the bottom, the Falcons remaining in the playoff hunt after their Monday night win over the Raiders. Atlanta's easiest route, and I use the word easy loosely, to make it into the postseason is to win the division, which would likely require them to win out. They'd also need a little help along the way from the Bucs, who have a game up on them in the division. But one thing Atlanta does have going for them is that they do own the tiebreaker over Tampa Bay should it come to that point. But Emery, are you giving Kirko and the Falcons any chance to sneak their way in?
No, they're going to look like the Atlanta Falcons probably against the Giants and perhaps the Panthers. They'll be the Gwinnett County Falcons against the Commanders. So you don't know which Falcon team going to show up. So I don't know. And to be completely honest, I've always talked about this. Like, at some point, coaching is about making tough decisions. And the toughest decision is going to have to be to move on from quarterback Kirk Cousins. What we saw tonight against the Raiders was the fact that the Raiders got after Kirk Cousins. They turned up the pressure. Yeah, they sacrificed some in the run game, but you don't think other teams saw the blueprint and say, hey, he's not moving off the spot. We saw that in Minnesota with Kirk Cousins. He wasn't the most mobile guy, but the ball used to come out quickly. He'd beat you with timing, touch, anticipation. That's not happening now. So if you look at that defense, the defense that they're going to face, the Giants can really get pressure with a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau. And you also look at what the Commanders have been able to do under Dan Quinn. And also, by the way, the Panthers have shown some life defensively to get after the quarterback. They have to find a way to replicate the Kirk Cousins that they saw in Minnesota, and to me, that guy is Michael Penix.
Well, based on what we saw tonight, the Gwinnett Falcons might show up against the Giants.
Facts.
They're in the Mercedes-Benz Dome because the identity of the offense is no longer there. Defensively, they've done a really good job tonight against the Raiders, but I don't know if I can trust their offense to be able to be elite enough to throw the football down the football field and sustain drives doing so. The running game was a bright spot, but this is a tricky spot for Atlanta because, like I said, in the NFC South, one team will only make the playoffs. That's the team that wins the division. One team is thriving. That's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The other team, they're surviving. They survived tonight. You do not want to be a team that's surviving in December football if you have playoff aspirations, because one thing I know about teams that are just surviving in December, you can't hit a switch and say, now it's time to thrive. It doesn't work like that. You either have it or you do not have it. And right now, the team that has it is the Buccaneers, led by Baker Mayfield, led by Mike Evans. It doesn't matter who's in the lineup. They're going to go out and put on for their city. Outside of Atlanta, they're not doing so. They got by tonight. Can they continue to get by? We have to wait and see. But if they don't have a slip up from Tampa, and this is the most important game for Tampa coming up against the Dallas Cowboys on the primetime stage. If they can take care of their business against Cooper Rush and the Dallas Cowboys, I like their chances against Carolina. I like their chances against the Saints, because those two final weeks of the season, I know how it is. I've never been on a losing team like that, but I've had friends that have been on losing teams. The U-Hauls are packed. The boxes are packed. Everybody's getting ready to go down to Miami, Tampa, Jacksonville, or just go right now to Tulum and get ready for the offseason. And the last thing you want to do is go out here and fight extremely hard and mess around and get a leg contusion, and now you're going into the offseason banged up.
Already punching them tickets to Cancun, wherever it might be. But like you guys have been mentioning all night long, Tampa Bay playing their best football right now. And one of you guys even mentioned could have the potential to upset somebody should they be playing January football, but that's another discussion. So let's take a look at the updated draft order following the conclusion of Week 15. Now, after dropping their 10th straight game, the Raiders owning the top pick in this April's draft. They're followed by the Giants at number 2, New England, Carolina, and Tennessee rounding out the top 5 in the draft order. So at least at this moment, the Raiders owning that top pick in the draft, no certainty to what might happen with the head coaching situation. We know limited partner Tom Brady expected to be heavily involved in choosing the next signal caller for the franchise. But now with all of the options on the table available for Vegas, and don't forget they do have that top emerging rookie tight end Brock Bowers locked in for the foreseeable future. B, who's the better fit in your mind for Vegas? Would it be going after a Cam Ward, or would it be Shedeur Sanders?
Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur wants to play for the Raiders, right? I don't know if you guys have followed him on social media, but every time the Raiders lost, every time they lose, he tweets, thank you, God, with the Raiders. And you know what? I don't want to check because I'm trying to be a professional now. But someone check real quick and let's see, has that message came out from Shedeur Sanders yet? Not yet, but be on the Shedeur Sanders watch in terms of tweeting out, thank you, God, every time the Raiders lose, because that's telling all of us what? He wants to be a Raider. I understand we just saw him in New York City, sightseeing, Saks Fifth Avenue, shopping, you know, having a good time, throwing footballs to Malik Neighbors. But yeah, that's just fun and games right there. This man wants to be a part of the Raiders. And you know why? Kiana, you just gave us a quick little snippet about who will be involved in this quarterback selection. Tom Brady. He already has a relationship with Tom Brady. Tom Brady is a guy who has been mentoring him in terms of becoming a quarterback throughout high school, throughout his collegiate career. So that relationship is already there. Guess who Tom Brady probably wants? Shedeur Sanders, because he has a relationship. He understands what type of player he is, and they want to bring in a player that can control the inside and the outside. Name me another player that will be in this draft that has been in the spotlight more so than Shedeur Sanders. Name me another player in this draft that has been criticized for good or bad more than Shedeur Sanders. And he has handled all of those said situations and has been the ultimate professional. And don't forget about this. This is a kid, unlike myself. I don't know how it was for you growing up, but he's always had resources. You know what I mean?
That's one way to put it.
No, that's one way to put it. I put it a good way. He's always had resources, but he's never been complacent. He's still hungry, like he's never had those said resources that a lot of kids don't have. So that's the guy I would say, you know what? He know how it feels to be full. He know how it feels to have all different shoes in the closet and things like that, but he wants more because he loves the game. And kudos to his dad and Prime and making sure he has that mindset, because you have to love the football more so than the football love you if you want to be successful, especially when you play the quarterback position.
The mindset that certainly a franchise would want, having that hungry mentality, and also that's a relationship that you would want.
And I can say this much, I don't have a dog in the race, but I felt like what I just gave you guys, if you're a Raider fan, you probably should want Shedeur Sanders, because I just gave a great message about Shedeur being a Raider.
Clip that off and let's get that back in April.
Yeah, and look out for the tweet from Shedeur.
One quick thing. I don't want people to feel like this is a Shedeur versus Cam, because both are elite. So either one, you'll be fine, Raider fans.
And whoever's there at the top of the draft.
They both going to be day one starters in my opinion.
Exactly, day one starters. Fellas, is all.
Movie camera, what's up? Cowboys Nation. Today's topic is one that's got every Dallas Cowboys fan scratching their head, but also filled with hope. The 2024 season is still in full swing, but behind the scenes, things are already heating up for 2025. And it looks like the Dallas Cowboys might be gearing up to make a bold move that could have a huge impact on the franchise's future. 3 o'clock, hold tight, fans, because in less than a minute, I'll tell you all about a big-name player who could be coming in to strengthen our offense. But first, let's look at the big picture. The Cowboys are expected to have a staggering $100 million in cap space for 2025. That's right, a massive budget to go all in on big-time reinforcements. Dak Prescott recently fueled speculation by dropping a hint. He believes the team could land a big chess piece in next year's free agency. Fire now, here's the bombshell. The name gaining momentum is Stefon Diggs. That's right, the star wide receiver and brother of our very own cornerback Trevon Diggs could be the next big signing for the Dallas Cowboys. After a rocky tenure with the Bills and a short stop in Houston, Diggs is now in the final year of his contract and recovering from a knee injury. At 31 years old, and with his current market situation, he could become a golden opportunity for the Cowboys. Speech balloon, why does Stefon Diggs make sense? Beyond the exciting prospect of playing alongside his brother Trevon, Diggs still has plenty of talent to be a dynamic offensive threat opposite CeeDee Lamb. Just imagine Dak Prescott throwing to an offense with both Lamb and Diggs dominating the field. And with the cap space available, a short-term prove-it deal could be a perfect fit for Dallas. Magnifying glass tilted left, but hold on. Right now, it's all just speculation, fans. The big takeaway here is that the Cowboys will have both the money and the plans to reboot the roster in 2025. Stefon Diggs is just one of many names that could be on the table, but as Dak hinted, the possibilities are endless. And if there's one thing Jerry Jones loves to do, it's surprise us with a big move. Speech balloon, now it's over to you, Cowboys Nation. Do you think Stefon Diggs would be the perfect addition to the Cowboys offense? Or do you believe the team should focus on another position to become a true Super Bowl contender? Megaphone, drop your thoughts in the comments, share this video with other fans, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Together, we'll track every rumor, every speculation, and, of course, root for the Dallas Cowboys to build a team that can take us back to the top. American football, go Cowboys! I'll see you in the next video. Until then,